Good morning and good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is a new week, it's a new Monday, and, well, a lot of stuff happened over the weekend, and we're going to tell you about a lot of those things. A lot of things are happening today because, you know, the world runs on that Monday to Friday. We don't want anything happening on the weekends except for, I don't know, some fun stuff, fun things. I don't have anything to talk about that's fun, unfortunately, but I'm sure there's some fun stuff in here. This is the one and only international game show Before Coffee, a father and daughter podcast where we look up our stories 10 to 15 minutes before we start. We spin a wheel, that's the game part of this, to decide what segues we do in between the stories, and we mostly just talk about stories, trying to learn to read them, try to speak them. And we just got caffeine, so we're trying to also stay awake. Let's get in today's Mucking Fun Day stories.
Hey, let's do it.
Today on Mucking Fun Day, France's Macron won't resign as no confidence votes threaten his new government in the continuing French drama. Uh-oh, more drama off the French coast as Russia responds after claims its submarine surfaced off the coast. Huh?
Greetings on Mucking Fun Day from the United States, where it's been 3 weeks, nearly 3 weeks, since Representative-elect Rialba has been elected, and she's still not sworn in. Trumpstein files, anyone?
In Dutch news, the Netherlands has taken a tough action against chip manufacturer Nexperia for fear of chip knowledge leaks to China. And EU's digital border entry and exit system comes to an effect across many member states.
And we have lost movie star Diane Keaton at the age of 79. We'll look back on her career.
In my culture news, the end of an era that I thought already ended. MTV music channels are to be switched off across Europe by the end of the year. And Kate Bush, an artist, harnessed power of running up the hill for War Child appeal.
Oof. Wow, and it's National Kick Butt Day. So get out there and stop smoking. Don't be kicking people in the butt. It's October 13th. Monday, October 13th, 2025 on Before Coffee.
Yeah, kick that butt. Of course, I have it easy because
Yeah.
I never started. Yay, I'm better than everyone.
All right.
That's not true, but it is really important that, you know, if something is ruining your health, get rid of it, you know? Today is a sign for better health.
If you get up hacking and coughing just so you can hack and cough more, yeah.
I mean, smoke is just bad
Your
for you. It
lungs
doesn't
aren't
matter
enjoying
what kind of smoke it is. It's just bad for you. This is probably why I have the lungs of a 20-year-old, according to my teacher. My doctor.
Oh.
My doctor was like, your lungs are as strong as a 20-year-old. I still don't get enough oxygen because I have asthma, but at least I have strong lungs.
There you go. You're working on it, right?
Yeah. I don't think it can really make it easier. Sadly. Other than
You haven't limited your lung capacity at any time.
Yeah, my lung capacity is great. I just
on your own.
my blood doesn't get the oxygen I need, more like. But yes.
My
Welcome
brain
Monday. Anything happened to you over the weekend? Nothing happened to me. I just did the same stuff. You know, play video games.
Huh? Hey, watch some sports.
Oh yeah, I heard there was a golf thing again, or no?
No, there's no golf.
Oh, okay. Oh, I don't know what sports are happening right now. Let's get
The baseball playoffs.
Okay.
Baseball playoffs are down to the Final Four.
Oh, that's fun.
Baseball playoffs are Final Four. Interesting part about that is the American League is the Toronto Blue Jays and the Seattle Mariners. And they both were expansion teams the same year. I think it was 1976. They both came in, Seattle and Toronto as new teams, and now they're both in American League Championship Series.
That's fun. Yeah, I think I had a
Milwaukee
friend who was
Brewers
watching it, and supposedly there
Brewers.
was a game that went to 15 innings over the weekend, I think.
Oh, yeah, that
like
was Detroit and Seattle. Yeah, that went 5 games. That went all the way to the last game, 5 games. It was a tie game, 15-inning game. Seattle won.
And for anyone who doesn't know anything about baseball, there's usually 9 innings, not 15.
Yeah. If you don't know anything about baseball, all right.
Almost double the amount of game.
The National League matchup is the Milwaukee Brewers with the lowest payroll in baseball versus the Los Angeles Dodgers with the highest payroll in baseball. In fact, the Dodgers pay one player, Shohei Ohtani, the best player in baseball, because he's also a pitcher and a batter. Well, anyway, they pay him more than the Brewers play their entire team. So they're playing first game tonight in Milwaukee.
Japan is very happy.
Oh, they broke all kinds of law,
Really?
salary cap rules signing him because, they gave him a deferred contract. So he's the only pitcher in Major League Baseball history to lead the league in home runs or hitting or any of that shit.
Like
right?
he's a good batter for somebody who's supposed to be a pitcher.
He's the best player in the history of Major League Baseball. However, the Dodgers gave him a deferred contract, which he doesn't get until he's already retired for 20 years. And he says, that's fine. I don't care. I don't need that money now. It'll be there in 20 years. Seems to be illegal, but somehow the Dodgers did it. So in 20 years, they're going to be paying him after he's retired. Yeah.
That does sound like it's breaking some sort of labor law.
The Mariners. No, yeah. Well, not labor law. How is it breaking labor law to overcompensate somebody? There should be CEOs arrested all over the country for that. No, it's not labor law. It's salary caps that exist in sports that aren't really salary caps, right? And baseball doesn't really have. Baseball doesn't have a salary cap.
Football does. Salary caps even exist? Is there a reason?
To keep rich owners want them to protect themselves against themselves. The players don't want salary caps. They want to
obviously,
keep making money.
What do you mean what I'm worth, asshole?
So baseball doesn't have a real salary cap. They have what's called a luxury tax, which is a joke. I mean, if you're super zillionaire, you can pay a luxury tax. Well, big deal. We win games. Who cares? Football, on the other hand, is a weak union, and they have a salary cap, and the players get treated like shit. And they're the ones that end up more crippled than any other sport, except maybe hockey.
That's true. That is true.
So anyway, let's do the story so I can figure out what I'm going to write down.
I found it after, I think last Thursday we lost it. I don't know where it went. We found the wheel again.
Go Brewers!
Headline for the first 2 stories. I'll try to cut them up a little bit because they are quite long. And they're all about France.
Let's not have
We're talking about France here. The first story is about my continuing drama in Europe. You know, there's governments changing and going in and out, and, you know, especially because of the pressures of Ukraine and refugees and all that stuff. France, of course, is more under pressure because Macron is like a right centrist and he wants to pass certain regulations that a lot of people don't agree with, and he's been in drama for that. But it's his last time being in power. He can't get reelected after this. This is his last time, so he's probably just going to keep on going because it's like, you guys are going to kick me out early just because you don't like me anymore. This is coming out of Paris from October 13th, which I think is today, right? Yes, that's today. Wrote by Alessandro Parodi. French President Emmanuel Macron rejected calls to resign and blasted his opponents today as his latest government was threatened by 2 no-confidence motions that could bring it down by the end of the week. France is in the midst of its worst political crisis in decades as a succession of minority governments seek to push deficit-reducing budgets through a truculent legislature split into 3 distinct ideological blocs. And they were refusing to compensate each other or work together at all, which is kind of how governments are supposed to work. Macron has burned through 5 prime ministers in less than 2 years, and many of his rivals have said the only way out of the crisis is for the president to call fresh legislative elections or resign, both of which he refused to do. On Friday, which was the 10th? Oh, yes, the 10th of October, Macron reappointed Sébastien Lecornu, who had resigned as Prime Minister earlier in the week. Macron's office announced Lecornu's new cabinet late Sunday, the 12th of October, with many of the top jobs remained unchanged, despite the Prime Minister's pledge to name ministers who embody renewal and diversity. So this guy tried to quit, saying, "These guys will not work with me, I give up." And then Macron said, "Get back in there, soldier. You are not quitting, you are not resigning." Lecornu will face a no-confidence vote most likely this Thursday, which is the 16th of October. It's unclear if he has the votes needed to survive, as the socialists, whose support he will almost certainly need to fight on, are keeping their options open. For anyone who's not aware, it's both the hard right and the hard left who are fighting against Macron's government, right? So both sides of the spectrum are like, we fucking hate you, for different reasons, to be fair, right? I think the leftists,
so if you're
of course,
pissing
want
off the
more labor
extremists, you're
stuff,
doing the right
worker
thing.
stuff, right? Environmental things.
Extremists.
And then the far right want more anti-immigrant stuff, also probably less farmer stuff, right? Oh, you're threatening our farmers by making them save the environment for the future. That kind of thing, right? So they both have different ideals, and they're fighting against Macron, who has more different ideals, and they're just not getting along at all. This stuff was not in our manifesto. The socialists want Lecornu to repeal Macron's pension reform and roll out a billionaires tax. That sounds great. Tax the billionaires. Fuck billionaires. Measures
nice.
The right outright checks. The right is like, no, we need billionaires to steal all our money so we can blame them. We can blame the poor people for being poor. Lecornu, already France's shortest serving prime minister with a first term that lasted 27 days, has not ruled out resigning again if he cannot fulfill his mission. RN Party President Jordan Bardella asks on TVI TV whether he would support a motion by the far left and said, "I am not a sectarian. I believe that France's interest today is to ensure that Emmanuel Macron is stopped in his tracks." That does sound like what it is. Like, it's nothing about whoever the prime minister is. It's just like, oh, you're friends with Macron? Fuck you. That's what the far right and far left are at right now. Macron, you like that guy?
Right.
Fuck you. I don't like you anymore. It sounds very childish. The government is not governmenting. France has the Eurozone's largest deficit, and Macron has tasked a string of prime ministers with passing a down budget, and every single of these budgets have been rejected. Michel Barnier, who was the first to try, but he was toppled by Parliament's last December for his proposed budget cuts to the 25 budget. His successor, François Bayrou, managed to get a legislation over the line, but he was ousted last month over his proposals for the 26 budget. The political forces that decided to vote against François Bayrou and the political forces that sought to destabilize Sébastien Lecornu are solely responsible for this mess, Macron has said. I mean, I have to agree with him. But he's also responsible for passing things nobody likes, I guess. I don't know if there's any winning here. I'm not a political pundit. I didn't really study politics, but it's not looking good. I can tell you that much. When your far right parties are working against the center, which is supposed to be the biggest bloc. Realistically, center is always the biggest bloc because there aren't a lot of people who are far anything, right? Most people like to sit generally in the middle. You know, oh, I'm more this side, I'm more that side. And I think he's technically right center. So, but even the far right don't like this guy, because if he sides too much with the far right, rest of Europe will be like, what are you, an anti-immigrant, border-controlling racist now, Macron? What the hell? So, I don't know if there's any winning. I think he's probably... My prediction is that he's just going to keep going, even if a budget never gets passed for 26 or 27 or whatever, until he's out, and then who knows what will happen in France. The election will decide, I guess. Because Macron will be out, so at least, right, he won't try to get re-elected and then be surprised when he doesn't get any votes because everyone else hates him. I shouldn't say everyone else hates him, but there's probably been a lot of anti-Macron stuff happening since he got re-elected. So even the people who may not know everything about what's going on probably don't like him, right? The PR against him is just too strong.
We do this every week.
Yeah.
We go through this every week.
Yeah. So it's a good thing he can't get reelected because he wouldn't get any votes anyways. I mean, that's the reason they're in their situation to begin with. He barely got any votes when he got reelected because he decided to run again. He should have put somebody else on the party, somebody else to head the party, and maybe they would have got more votes. I don't know. Anyways, give me an alliteration.
We need to have a crybaby sound effect for the French people for their bitching about their easy frickin' problems. Fearsome flailing French fillet fascists. That's what I call this. It's like, oh, our retirement age is going to be 62. Oh, we're so precious. Get the hell out of here. Have a shitty leader like us once, huh? How about that?
You're actually always green on the other side, huh? All right, my next story.
I'm sick of the French
I'll play you
easy fucking lives.
I'll play you a sound effect here. Here, you can have this one.
You got free healthcare. Pirate 62. You got trains you can just take anywhere, right? You basically don't even have to freaking work. France is better than the United States,
but that doesn't mean the people in France are happy because they only know what they know. So if they want better, they can ask for better.
Right, I'm listening to things they have that I wish I had, okay?
Yeah, I know, but they don't experience
next story.
That. Yeah. they don't know what it's like to be an American. They've never lived that. Well, most of them haven't. Anyways, our next story is going to be about more French things, but this time with Russia. Uh-oh! This is from Mark Trevelyan on The Independent. Russia has denied a report that one of its submarines was suffering technical problems after the vessel surfaced off the coast of northern France. That's our submarine? No, it was not having problems. It was supposed to be there. Excuse me, why is your submarine off the coast of France? Actually, yes, it was a technical issue. Yeah. NATO's Maritime Command published photographs on the 9th of October of what it said was a French Navy frigate observing a Russian submarine operating on the surface off the coast of Brittany. That is right by the Channel, for anybody who doesn't have their geography down. Very close to France.
So it's on the ocean.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not the Mediterranean, it's the ocean. Okay. I was like,
it's the actual ocean, the Channel. Brittany is by the Channel and the Atlantic Ocean. Okay. So they probably went through the Channel maybe, or went around to the north, and then we're in the Atlantic. But either way, it's not in the Mediterranean. NATO stands ready to defend our alliance with constant vigilance and maritime awareness across the Atlantic. I guess NATO's Maritime Command posted on Twitter without naming the submarine. They're just like, there's a submarine there. There's a picture of a ship, a frigate, and there's a submarine surfacing, and they're like, that's not one of ours. BCHK OGPU, a shadowy Telegram channel that publishes purported Russian security leaks, reported last month that the diesel-powered submarine Novorossiysk was suffering serious technical problems with fuel leaking into the hold. And then today, on the 13th, state media published a statement from Russia Black Sea Fleet denying that it had surfaced off France's because of a technical emergency. It said that the submarine was carrying out a scheduled transit after completing tasks in the Mediterranean Sea. So they did come from the Mediterranean Sea, and they were returning to Russia through the English Channel, and has surfaced in line with international navigation in the English Channel. So they are allowed to surface there if they need to. But of course, they're going to deny any technical malfunctions because Russia is really trying to show no weaknesses, right? So, no weaknesses. We are perfect.
Submarines are war vehicles only.
Yeah.
There's no purpose. There's no civilian commercial purpose for a submarine. It's a war vehicle. Yes. Period. Sorry.
But whatever it's scheduled transit and they probably it's because it's scheduled. That makes me think that they knew it was there, right? It's not being a spy submarine, right? They told all of the people who control all of this ocean in that area, we will be passing through the English Channel in October. Keep an eye out for us. We're going through the Mediterranean to Russia, and they know all of this. I'm assuming.
Commercial fishing submarines, right? Yeah.
State news agency TASS said that the vessel, which entered service in 2014, was part of a group of submarines that carry Caliber cruise missiles. Those can hit countries. They can come out and hit you. For anyone who's curious. Meanwhile, in Poland, prosecutors have charged 2 Russian citizens with spying for Russian intelligence, and one of them for plotting to send a parcel of explosive prosecutors said today, on Monday, the October 13th. European authorities have been on high alert for explosive packages since a series of explosions occurred in courier depots in Britain, Germany, and near the Polish capital Warsaw in July 24. Western officials blamed those incidents on Russia. Of course, Moscow denies the accusations. One of the Russians, referred to as Igor R. under Polish privacy law, was charged with participating in a plot to send a parcel bomb via courier, for which a Ukrainian citizen was also charged earlier this year. Igor R. and his wife Irina were also charged with providing Russian intelligence information on Russian opposition activities residing in Poland, as well as individuals and institutions providing assistance to them. That is worrying, because think about it for a second here. If Russia were to invade Poland, they would know exactly who to go after, right? Get rid of all the resistant fighters that would be in power to take over, because they already know where they are, right? They know where all their secret check-out hideouts are and where they meet and stuff, and they would arrest them instantly, get rid of all the resurgence. Anyways, good news from France and Russia. According to NATO, everything's fine, but they will defend themselves as necessary, which is also not very, doesn't give me confidence that everything's fine. We will be defending our alliance. Okay, tell that to France when they get hit by 15 cruise missiles. Anyways, I'm sure they have some sort of anti-air against cruise missiles.
Headline: Suspicious Soviet submarine seen submerged somewhere sneaky.
Very suspicious indeed.
Not the best headline in the world. Yeah. There's no peaceful application for submarines.
Oh my God!
All right, let's roll our next segue for your stories.
Okay. All right, we're gonna update the Epstein files. They still haven't been released.
Mixed metaphor.
Because hey, Republicans protect pedophiles. Mixed metaphor. AP News has a story. Matt Brown and Kevin Frecking, Rep-elect Adelita Grialva, is that the proper way to pronounce it, still not sworn into Congress. That's right. The election took place on September 23rd. Democrats are ramping up the pressure on House Speaker Grinder Mike Johnson, if that is his real name, to swear in Representative-elect Adelita Grialva, an Arizona Democrat who won a special election last month to succeed her late father. The delay was attracted mounting attention, with Johnson challenged by lawmakers, reporters, and even C-SPAN viewers about why Grialva hasn't been given the oath of office. Johnson has said repeatedly she'll be sworn out. What?
I said suspicious. That's all.
Well, no, we know why it's happening. Grinder Mike Johnson has said repeatedly that she will be sworn into the House returns of session. He blames the government shutdown for the delay. And why is the government shut down? Grinder Mike Johnson. That's why he's the one that shut it down. He sends all of his party back home. Yeah, you don't have to be in Washington. Who cares if the government shut down? Everybody go home. We're going to call this the Trumpstein delay, because that's what it is, the Trumpstein shutdown. Entering its third week tomorrow, by the way. She's the daughter. Who is Adelita Grialva? She's the daughter of Representative Raul Grialva, a staunch progressive who died in March. He served more than 2 decades in the House, rising to chairman of the House Natural Resources Committee, where he helped shape the nation's environmental policies. His daughter has been active in local politics, first serving in school board and even school board level, and subsequently on the Pima County Board of Supervisors, becoming just the second woman to serve as chair. She easily won the special election September 23rd to serve out the remainder of her father's term. She will represent a mostly Hispanic district. Oh, this ain't racist at all, is it? Mostly Hispanic district in which Democrats hold nearly a 2-to-1 ratio voter registration advantage over Republicans. How Grialva views the delay? She was gracious to her soon-to-be Democratic colleagues as they welcomed her to the U.S. Capitol last month, even as she and her future staff were officially considered visitors to the building. I think it's great to be able in a room with my colleagues, but you very quickly realize that you're not part of the club yet. She said in an interview with the Associated Press, if I had big money to bet, I would bet that if I were a Republican representative waiting in the wings, I would have already been sworn in by now. Of course you would have. She says she's worried about the precedent that's being set by her delayed swearing in. The bedrock of our democracy is free, fair, unobstructed elections, she said. And if Speaker Johnson believes this is as I do, then he will quit toying with our democratic process and swear me in. Members of the House have been mostly back in their home districts since September 19th. That's when Republicans passed a continuing resolution to fund the government through November 21st. Johnson's decision to send lawmakers home was intended to pressure the Senate into passing that funding measure, a tactic that so far hasn't worked. Johnson has yet to schedule any floor vote since then, and we're going to keep pretending the same about the Epstein files. Story was written by somebody who's covering for somebody, it looks like. I'm just getting to the meat of the story. I'm just trying to get somewhere in here. Democrats had little leverage to force Johnson to seat Grijalva so long as the House recess, but they are keeping up the pressure. In an unusual scene Wednesday, Arizona's two Democratic senators, Mark Kennedy and Ruben Gallego, confronted Johnson outside his office about Grijalva's situation. You just keep coming up with these excuses, Gallego said to Johnson. The speaker called it a publicity stunt. Democrats have also taken the floor in pro forma sessions to try to have Grijalva sworn in. The presiding officers ignored them every time. Yes! Okay, this story is getting a little silly because they're not even bringing up the Epstein files. Representative-elect Adelia Grijalva should have been sworn in, said House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. It should have happened this week, should have happened last week, it needs to happen next week. What does her swearing have to do with the Epstein files? Now we're getting to the real reason. The real reason. Republican Rep. Thomas Massey of Kentucky, defying GOP leadership, has been gathering signatures on a petition to trigger a vote on legislation that would force the release of federal files on Jeffrey Epstein. He is just one name away from succeeding. One name. Who could that name be? Providing Massey has 218 signatures needed to trigger a vote. Democrats say Johnson is stalling on Grijalva's swearing in, as well as bringing the House back to Washington because he wants to push off any Epstein vote. Johnson rejected that accusation or his parents on that C-SPAN. This has zero to do with Epstein. Yeah, no, it doesn't. Grinder Mike, we know you're on Grinder. We know you're hiding something, Grindy. But yeah, you're not.
Grindy.
Are you possibly on the Epstein list too, Grinder Mike? Anyway, Grijalva says she has tried to be not to be a conspiracy theorist and initially disagreed with supporters and allies who warned her that she wouldn't be seated in Congress because of the Epstein bill. I thought, no way, he's going to swear me in, I'll be fine, she said. Here we are, 2 weeks later. Of course, now it's 3 weeks later. So there's your story on Grinder Mike. The guy who crashes Grindr every time he leaves Washington and goes to another town to get away from his wife who wants that, cuddling and stuff. When Mike just don't go for that. He likes a hairy back. Anyway, where's your segue?
Wow. You can't make an omelet without cracking a few boats.
That's true. Especially submarines.
Yeah,
all right, that's my only story.
Cracking some omelets.
We brought it.
You can't get somebody sworn in unless you actually have a working government. Okay, my next. Oh, let's roll our segue first.
Right on.
That was a quick story. Damn.
That was it. Yep, I'm a 2-story guy.
All right, well, I guess you're going to have to write me a limerick. 2 limericks.
Right on.
Because my first story is going to be about the Netherlands. They have taken action against a chip manufacturer for knowledge leaks. So I think this is corporate espionage where you say, they gave us the details, the patent or whatever on how to create these microchips. Now we're going to send all that details to China to another company so that they know how to do it. And then you're like, wait a minute, you can't do it. That's a patented, protected chip knowledge, right? Chip manufacturing knowledge. You can't just share that with people, especially if you want to, transfer a business from being Dutch run to Chinese run, right? And then the Netherlands will lose all its whatever money it makes from a Dutch run chip manufacturer. This is from Mark Hiesink and Tabitha Spelman on NRC, a Dutch paper. The Dutch Ministry of Economic Affairs is taking drastic measures against the chip manufacturer Nexperia, owned by the Chinese holding company WingTech. For a year, Nexperia is prohibited from relocating business units, hiring new management, or making other decisions without the express permission of the Dutch government. Several sources consulted by NRC confirmed reports of this in Chinese media outlets. Documents published by the WingTech this week concerning the measures taken against its subsidiary Nexperia are circulating there. This is an exceptional emergency measure intended to prevent intellectual property related to chips from disappearing abroad. According to insiders, there were indicators that Nexperia was planning to leak chip knowledge to China. This would pose a threat to national and economic security. For anyone who doesn't know, while the Netherlands has a lot of agricultural exports, that's where they make a lot of money. They make also a lot of money in technological sector. For example, they are the only country that has a certain machine, like an imaging machine, and China is trying to create one themselves by backwards engineering how it works. And this is also something they probably have a huge patent on, like chip technology, that China is trying to steal, right? We don't want to pay the Netherlands for this chip technology, so we're going to figure out what it is ourselves. The ministry confirmed the measure is in a press release yesterday evening on the 12th of October. The Amsterdam Enterprise Chamber has meanwhile removed CEO Zhang Shuizheng from his position as director of Nexperia as an emergency measure. The reason for this was a request made by 3 Nexperia directors on October 1st. An emergency hearing of the Enterprise Chamber on October 6th resulted in Zhang Shuizheng being temporarily placed by a non-Chinese director. The outgoing Minister of Economic Affairs, currently Vincent Caramons VVD, has several options for safeguarding knowledge security. One of these is the Goods Availability Act. Its application is exceptional. It's backup instrument for when extraordinary circumstances, such as a war or acute national emergency. The emergency in this case, the availability of chips for the European automotive industry. If anyone has been paying attention to European economic drama, they want to make more car industry in Europe, and they want to rely less on Chinese industry and American industry. So yeah, if China wants to steal their chips for cars and probably EV cars, right? That's kind of a threat to their manufacturing, because it's probably something they use to say, look, we have a very fancy chip manufacturing capabilities, and that's why you should buy European EVs or something, whatever marketing thing they say, right? Nexperia doesn't make complex or advanced chips, but the manufactures standard products on large scale that are found in all electronics. Until 2017, Nexperia was part of the NXP, once a subsidiary of Philips, before coming under Chinese ownership. The headquarters are still in Nijmegen, and Nexperia has factories in Germany and the UK. Since 2019, WingTech, an investment led by Zhang Shuizheng, has been the owner. WingTech has been subject to U.S. government export restrictions since December of 2024. Nexperia received a letter from the Ministry of Economic Affairs on September 30th, one day before the U.S. implemented stricter export restrictions for Chinese companies, which now also places WingTech subsidiary on the U.S. prohibited list. Even though it's in the Netherlands, it's run by a Chinese investment group, hence it's Chinese. And I mean, the fact that they're trying to export the info to China is also very worrying. In China, a statement from WingTech on the matter caused a stir yesterday on the 12th of October. In an online statement, which was later deleted by the company but widely shared by Chinese media, WingTech wrote that it condemned both the actions of the Dutch Ministry of Economic Affairs in the name of economic security, and those of some members of Nexperia's management are the ones who probably brought it up to the Dutch government. Hey, isn't that weird? The company speaks of excessive interference. Welcome to Europe. Regulations, baby. I love, oh, you're regulating us and you're not letting us do stuff. That's interference. It is excessive. And discrimination against companies with Chinese investors. I think they probably, I mean, I don't see the case here, but it sounds like from the case, they were like, yeah, it is really weird that they started exporting all of the information that they know to China. But yeah, like I said, I don't really have the case here. I wasn't there in the room when they did these determinations. They determined stuff was happening, but it alleges that a number of foreign management members whose wishes strongly align with those of the Dutch government are involved and who are allegedly exploiting geopolitical tensions within the semiconductor industry to implement changes within the company. Interesting. Interesting that you invest in a Dutch company, right? And then you call people who are Dutch, who are working in that Dutch company, foreign management members. So is the company a Chinese company or is it a Dutch company? I don't know anymore. But they're definitely making it into a geopolitical issue by saying that, right? Foreign management members. If this company was fully Chinese, we wouldn't have to deal with this. We would have probably moved the company out of Nijmegen to somewhere in China, had a bunch of workers who don't get paid enough, and then we would also own the patents for this entire chip manufacturing. WingTech is a major player in China's semiconductor
slave labor like
industry.
China.
Yeah. Nexperia is the primary source of their revenue, which company finds itself caught in the intense geopolitical rivalry between China and the United States over chips. In recent weeks, both countries have continued to escalate tensions in this geopolitical struggle. On October 9th, the Chinese government announced a series of new export controls requiring companies to apply for permission to export rare earth materials if those materials are used in production of semiconductors and related products. It remains unclear how much of an impact new measures will have on European chip makers. So if they're buying their whatever materials they need to make chips in the Netherlands. Meanwhile, Chinese social media has a buzz of speculations about potential countermeasures against Dutch companies. WingTech has appealed to the Chinese government for support. Chinese investors are also wondering what impact this black swan will have on the Chinese stock market today, which I guess it probably already had an effect on it, but they don't report on it here. This was updated only on Sunday, so we haven't had any updates on the story since Sunday. But I mean, I guess I could, if I knew anything about the Chinese stock market, I could probably tell you. But I don't know anything about the Chinese stock market.
The Chinese stock market is rigged. You don't have to know nothing about it. Just like their so-called economy, it's rigged.
Yeah, I mean,
By the government.
It looks like there was a dip, I guess, on October 10th. But was it due to this? I have no idea. Anyways, that's my story on chip manufacturing in the Netherlands and the government having to step in because they're worried, you know, there's a total takeover, I guess, by China.
All right.
You have Limerick?
All right, so Limerick time, I guess.
These
are the
down. I don't know.
Well, I'm waiting, just waiting. These are the silicon chip facts. Chinese oligarchs don't know how to act. Espionage and stealing have the Dutch reeling, and their semiconductors get hijacked. Next story.
Sounds good.
I guess next story.
Let's see.
And we're talking no applause.
Ooh, great Limerick.
Yeah. So
All right, my next story
is
nothing about China or the Netherlands. It is about. Oh wait, do I have a next story? I thought I did. Oh yes, border entries and exit system. That's right. A place that is supposed to be a travel-free zone is now getting a digital border system between member states because everyone's angry about the refugees looking for a better life. Now I, a person who's been living here for 8 years, have to get my freaking ID checked if I want to go on a plane. This is come from Katarzyna Maria Skiba on Euronews. European Union member states began implementing a new entry and exit system at their external borders yesterday on the 12th of October. The systems involves the electronic registration of data of third country nationals. That's me included, even though I have a visa. The EU, bless you, the EU said it began its gradual implementation of the new electronic border control system known as the Entry-Exit System, EES, which involves registering the fingerprints of people from third-party countries and taking their photographs before they enter 29 European countries. Although the automated system introduction started yesterday, the whole process will take about 6 months to be fully implemented across all EU member states. This probably includes bus terminals, trains, all the different ways you can get into a EU country have to be covered here. Major airports in Italy, including those in Fiumicino and Malpensa airports, and the ports of Genoa and Civitavecchia on Sunday began the use of new systems, while Germany began its gradual phase in Stuttgart. According to the EU Commission, the new digital system aims to identify visa overstayers and counter illegal migration and identity fraud by basically saying, I entered the Netherlands October 12th. I have a 6-month visa. 6 months have passed. The computer goes, beep, beep, beep. Please check. This person has not left in 6 months. No exit visa recorded as of 6 months. They might be overstaying their visa. Go get them. I don't know. Send them an email. I don't know what they're going to do. Okay, it's fine if they want to do that. That's fine. But the problem with this kind of stuff, and it's always been a problem no matter what country you live in, is actually having the manpower to stop overstayers, right? You have to actually hire somebody and pay them to go, visit people's houses or wherever their last recorded address is and go, hey, this visa overstayer said they were going to the Netherlands, but now they're in Italy. Now we have to go find them, and I have to be paid a lot of money to go trace down these people. It's just not going to happen, right? They're going to have an alarm telling them, hey, this person overstayed their visa, and then they're not going to be able to find them because they have to actually hire somebody to find them. That's my prediction anyways. We'll see what actually happens, but that's my prediction. It also wants to find identity fraud, so people who are claiming to be those that they aren't. The launch came as a result of growing political pressures in many EU countries calling on the Union to take a stance on migration issues. There's too many people living here. Entry and exit system is the digital backbone of our new common European framework on the migration and asylum. European Commissioner for Home Affairs and Migration, Magnus Brunner, said in a statement, "Any third country national who crosses the external border will be subject to identity verification, security checks, and registration in EU databases," Brunner added. He stressed that the 6-month implementation period gives member states, travelers, and the businesses time to adjust smoothly to new procedures. The implementation of the scheme means that from now on, non-EU citizens will have to register their biometric data when they first enter the Schengen area. Lucky for me, I already do that when I get my visa. The system will cover all EU countries except Ireland and Cyprus, as well as Iceland, Norway, and Switzerland, and Liechtenstein. For subsequent travel, only biometric verification of identity will be required. So, for subsequent travel, as in if I'm going from the Netherlands to Germany to Denmark, I won't have to get scanned every time. They'll just be like, confirm that's your fingerprint or whatever. That's you, that's your face. All right, we've recorded that you went to Denmark. Whatever. The EES is expected to be fully operational by April of next year, when the traditional stamps and passports will be completely replaced by electronic entries. No, but I want a stamp in my passport. How am I supposed to reminisce about places I've been? Oh, remember then when I went there? Anyways, so it's only really going to affect people who are third party. Yeah, so that includes Americans. I know a lot of Americans get confused when they're called foreigners, but you are a foreigner in Europe and you are a third party citizen in Europe. So you do need to get your passport signed and stamped when you go to different countries in Europe. And yeah,
I never had that.
The UK probably will have to suffer from this as well because the UK is not part of the EU.
What's funny
Switzerland,
Not all
also
countries
not part of the
stamp your
EU.
passport.
Sorry?
Yeah. Said not all countries stamp your passport. Canada doesn't stamp my passport. They just say, welcome to
Yeah,
Canada.
I'm just saying that's
Anyway,
really
yeah.
it's a non-important but sad part of these new digital rules, right? You just lose the kind of fun of getting just having a stamp in there,
Yeah.
being like, remember when I went there? Now I don't remember because I can't. They're not going to print me out maybe they do. You can print out a PDF with all your stamps.
I don't
I
even
would
know
like
if I have a
recording of my
passport
digital
stamp for
stamp piece
Copenhagen.
for my own records. I would actually like that because that's the other thing, right? People always say, well, they can't, I know it's a bit paranoid to say this. I know I'm being paranoid, but people say, oh, they can't. Like, people have always said to me, they can't send you back to Mexico. You have an American passport, you have a birth certificate, blah, blah, blah. Okay, what if all that stuff is deleted? Oh, sorry, data loss. We don't know who you are anymore because all your papers have been deleted out of the database. You don't have the physical copy of that, right? There's no proof. That's all I'm saying. So,
Even if you have a physical copy, just tear it up and throw it away.
Yeah, I know that. I'm just saying.
That doesn't make
when
any
it
difference.
comes to
I mean,
this
all the Jews
particular
had
thing,
proof.
if they say we have no records of you entering the Netherlands in 2017, people can see you.
So?
By the way,
They're just gonna lock you. I'm just saying. This whole thing is like, oh, fascists are gonna give a shit. No, they're just gonna lock you up. They don't give a fuck what's on your
I
paperwork.
know that.
Tear it up.
I already prefaced my statement
Yeah.
by saying I know it's paranoid, but I'm just saying it's the same thing here, right?
It's not
You have a
paranoid.
digital record of you saying you entered the Netherlands in 2017, but our database got hacked or whatever. We lost all that info, and like now it's not even in my passport, right? It's not even stamped in my passport to prove when I
I'm
entered
not
the country.
paranoid.
So.
I'm not calling you paranoid. I'm calling you right. But I'm just saying,
okay.
what the hell difference? It's just that the records mean nothing anyway. Even if you're holding them, they're just gonna lock you up. Well, you can wave anything in front
But
of them.
I'm just
right?
saying it doesn't
I'm
have
the
to be.
king of the
It doesn't have
world.
to be
I
the
don't care.
government explicitly ignoring their records. I can just say it could be a nefarious third party, right? They delete all the records in the, and now nobody knows anything because you don't even have the
Just
physical
that one
passport to
officer
prove
having.
Yeah.
Just that one officer having a bad day and you're screwed. It doesn't
Yeah.
even matter what the official government policy is. It's stupid. It's a stupid policy. It always has been.
All right, give me your limit.
Pre-bordered. This is actually applies to the United States more than anywhere, but let's do it because everybody else is trying to say, hey, that works in the United States. And no, it don't work in the United States. You're killing tourism in the United States. That's what we're doing. Anyway, since Trump works for Russia, what's happening. Here's your limerick. If you travel to our nation on your next vacation, please provide evidence of your country of residence and 16 other forms of identification.
We need to prove that you're real and that you belong here.
Yeah. And your
I'm definitely
fingerprints,
real. I'm physically right here.
DNA sample, hair sample.
I
next to
learned that if you have
blood.
schizophrenia, if you take your phone out, your brain does not understand phone cameras, so you can use that to see if I'm real. So just, scan me with your phone. I'm real. I'm right here. That's a real thing, right? You think you're talking to somebody, and it's like, oh, that's not a real person. I have schizophrenia. But thank you for your limerick, of course. And let's roll
You're
our
welcome.
next wheel for your story.
Chat.
It is a bad pun.
Bad pun about Diane Keaton, who I guess we talked about Steve Martin last week. He was a couple of movies with Diane Keaton.
But he didn't die. He's just cool.
No, he
just
didn't.
saw
But
it.
they were actually knew. I actually found this in a biography. They actually knew each other before they were both famous.
Really? That's cool.
They were,
Funny how when that stuff happens.
Yeah, right. Actress Diane Keaton has passed away at the age of 79. This is a story from NPR's Maldelit de Barco. Hard to pronounce. There's a picture caption. Diane Keaton, who remained one of Hollywood's quirkiest and most beloved actors decades after her Academy Award-winning performance in the movie Annie Hall, has died at the age of 79. Her film producer confirmed her death to NPR on Saturday. When I met Keaton for an interview in 2014, this is the person who wrote the article, not me, she was sporting her trademark look.
I wish I met her in 2013.
2014. But when I met Keaton for an interview in 2014, she was sporting her trademark look, a bowler hat, tinted glasses, and oversized clothes. Clothing that actually hides the body, she half joked. There's a lot to hide in my case, so I'm the only remaining person on Earth with this particular look. Keaton was really something of a fashionista, inspiring generations of women with her unconventional lifestyle. On screen, she was known for playing endearing, unique, and sometimes eccentric characters. In one of her memoirs, Keaton wrote about aging and love in Hollywood. And I got a cough. Sorry about that. Yeah. In one of her memoirs, Keaton wrote about aging and love in Hollywood and becoming a parent late in life. She was also upfront about some of her insecurities. She fretted about aging, her hair thinning, her eyes drooping, but Keaton told me later in life she had finally come to accept that all flaws are beautiful. I felt that wrong can be right. It can be right in a lot of ways, she said. So all of the things you're disappointed with in yourself can work for you. Let's get down to the article. She was born Diane Hall. Coincidentally enough, she won an Oscar for playing Annie Hall, right? She was born Diane Hall in Los Angeles in 1946, the daughter of real estate broker and civil engineer Jack Hall. Her mother, Dorothy, was once crowned Miss Los Angeles. Keaton said her mom cheered her on as she pursued her dreams of becoming a singer-performer in New York. After studying at the Neighborhood Playhouse in the 1960s, Keaton ended up an understudy in the original Broadway production of the rock musical Hair. It was wild, it was unexpected, she said, but I could see that it really wasn't a hippie. I knew that I wasn't a hippie in Hair. Keaton famously refused to go on stage nude for the final scene in Hair. Then along came Woody Allen. Wait a minute, wasn't she an understudy? Yeah, she was an understudy. Why would understudy have to be nude? I'm just curious. Anyway, maybe one time she was in the play and she forgot. Okay, anyway, then along came Woody Allen, with whom she had a romantic relationship. Allen cast her in Play It Again, Sam, his play, then his movie, also the film comedy Sleeper, Love and Death, Manhattan, and of course Annie Hall. I forgot to mention that Play It Again, Sam was kind of the original. When Steve Martin did Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid and he was talking to people in old movies, Play It Again, Sam, Woody Allen was always talking to Bogart, like Bogart was in his head all the time. Kind of similar. Anyway, back to Diane Keaton. Keaton's kooky, quirky role as Annie Hall and her la-di-da charm won her the Best Actress in 1978. She thanked Woody Allen in her acceptance speech and later for her entire career. She stood by him throughout his controversy over allegations that Allen once molested his daughter, which the director denies. They're never going to change, Keaton said of her support for Allen. He's my very, very good friend. And there you go, being a friend. And Annie Hall, Keaton showed off her comedy and singing chops, but she also had dramatic film roles, most famously the Godfather trilogy. Her character marries into the Corleone Mafia family. Of course, very dramatic movie, The Godfather, right? She marries into the Corleone family. She's a WASP, a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, marrying into highly Catholic, highly religious, highly Italian family. Her godfather, co-star Al Pacino, is one of her boyfriends in real life. Another one of her real-life loves, Warren Beatty, directed her in the 1981 film Reds. Warren Beatty's getting with everybody, isn't he? In the historical drama about journalist John Reed, Keaton plays his love interest, activist Louise Bryant. I loved her position in life, Keaton said of her character, when she said played second fiddle to Reed, played by Beatty. All she wanted to be great. And she wanted to be great. She wanted greatness in her and fighting for herself and failing and failing. I loved her for that. I loved her for her flaws. She was a difficult person who wasn't very likable, yet I loved her. Jack Nicholson was also in Reds. He teamed up with Keaton again in 2003 for the comedy Something's Gotta Give. In that movie, Keaton also played opposite Keanu Reeves. Of course, Keanu Reeves is going after, well, what we call cougars nowadays, the older Diane Keaton in this movie. Diane Keaton never married, though in film, the very few older actresses who still got leading romantic roles. That was something Carol Kane, Keaton's longtime friend, raved about at the time. She's playing the love interest a lot, she said, kind of passionately kissing and swooping into the bedroom at an age when most people are just sort of, okay, well, that part's over. I mean, she just gets more and more beautiful because she's more and more herself. Diane Keaton, blah, 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 blah. That's a picture caption. For years, Keaton acted in films Looking for the Bar, the First Club and Baby Boom. She directed a documentary, Heaven, 1987. She also wrote books about her life, about architecture, photography, and beauty. She collected photos of beautiful men. She renovated beautiful houses, and as a single mother, raised 2 beautiful children. When she turned 50, she adopted her daughter, Dexter, and 5 years later, her son, Duke. It's an unconventional life, it's true, but I don't really see it that way because I don't think everybody has a pretty. Is there a life that just doesn't have have a story that isn't pretty astonishing? I've never come across anybody who hasn't. I just worked my way into life, and the life that I have because I had a goal, and it was very simple. I wanted to be in the movies. Keaton told me she was a late bloomer, but her fans might say death came to far too soon. Yes, that's your story. Diane Keaton, gone at the age of 79. Academy Award winner, and a lot of great movies. Actually stole a lot of good movies too, like Annie Hall. But there's your quick story.
I don't really have a pun about Diane Keaton herself, but I have a pun about the word Diane, so here you go. What do you call a Russian comedian?
Vladimir, I don't know.
Call me Diane.
Oh,
call me
boy.
Diane. Diane. I can't really, you can't really tell puns about a person, right? It's a hard thing to, I have a list of her most iconic quotes here, but none of them are, punny or funny, right? It's just I don't want to be put in display. It's silly. Enough already. Diane, we know. Or, it was awkward, but he was hilarious. We spent a lot of time in bed chatting away.
It was a good try.
Talking about Jack Nicholson, I guess. Or
right. Right on.
Yeah, she has some iconic quotes, but none of them are very funny.
Sad. Yeah, it's sad that she's gone. I mean, she was recognized in her time. I mean, one of your great actresses.
You know who she is, and I know who nobody is because I'm better remember names.
Better. Annie Hall. Annie Hall was her breakout, but again, can't forget her in all the Godfather movies. Going, why did I marry this family? Anyway.
Today I was thinking I'm the only one in my generation of actresses who has been a single woman all her life. I'm really glad I didn't get married. I'm an oddball. I remember in high school, this guy came up to me and said, one day you're going to make a good wife. And I thought, I don't want to be a wife. No. And so she didn't.
Nope.
And, we love somebody who does that, honestly. Good for her.
Yeah, she claimed she wasn't a hippie chick, but then she never got married, which is a total hippie. That's a total hippie chick thing to do. She's not married.
Here's to telling the haters, fuck you. Anyways, that's your only story?
Yeah, I only got 2 stories today.
Okay, then let's roll the second wheel. For my culture news. The first one's really short, so you don't have to... you want to write another limerick, or you want to re-roll?
No, I just said limerick. Can't have 2 in a row.
Just keep writing limericks.
No, that's too hard, man. Especially short stories. You don't even...
Okay, non sequitur. This first story is about MTV. It's a short one, so that's why I have 2 stories here. The short update coming out of Europe, MTV is taking off its music channels. That's right. I didn't even know they were still on air. If anybody watches TV still, you probably know that MTV became a reality TV show channel probably 10, 15 years ago. And I guess they're still playing music on Europe, but not anymore. Those channels are getting switched off by the end of the year. This is by David Morquant on Euronews Culture. A sign of changing times and a business decision that represents a cultural moment, signaling the death of communal music discovery and prompting a reflection on how we consume music in the digital age. Also, I just realized somebody earlier said hello in chat and then I ignored you. Hello, Tommy. I don't know if you're still here, but I hope you're having a good Monday, and I hope you have a good rest of your Monday and a good dinner. And thank you for stopping by and saying hello. Thank you. Okay. It's the end of eras for those spent treasured parts of their childhood waiting to discover the latest music video eager to watch the countdown charts and lapping up all the pop culture and fashion goodness MTV offered. Entertainment giant Paramount Global has delivered the sad news that after 44 years of continuous broadcasting, a cultural institution will be permanently shut down on the 31st of December 2025. The plug will be pulled on 5 cherished channels: MTV Music, MTV 80s, MTV 90s, Club MTV, and MTV Live. So I guess we're going to have to get all those live MTV unplugs on DVD, on the Internet Archive somewhere. I don't know. YouTube? They'll go down first in the UK and Ireland before switching off in France, Germany, Austria, and Austria twice. I think that's a typo. Poland, Hungary, Australia, and Brazil. So maybe they were already off in the Netherlands and the Benelux countries. The decision comes amid aggressive cost-cutting measures from Paramount Global as they merge with Skydance Media this year. Beyond financial realities, the move also reflects how viewing and media habits have shifted dramatically for many years now, with music fans migrating towards digital options. Yeah. Oh, I heard they released a new music video on YouTube. That's right, people have been watching YouTube for that stuff for a while. Indeed, social media channels and streaming platforms represent fierce competition, and TV channels can't compete, despite offering a sense of community that has lasted for decades, now replaced by more personalized ways of experiencing music. The shutdown will put an end to pop culture legacy, which began in the US in 1981. Rather prophetically, the first video aired on MTV was Video Killed a Radio Star by the Bugles. From there, iconic pop culture moments followed: the premiere of Michael Jackson's Thriller video in '83, David Bowie advocating for black artists on MTV News, the pioneering reality show The Real World in the early 90s, Nirvana bringing, pioneering reality show, that was the downturn. Yeah, let's just put reality TV. Yeah, that's great. This is the real reason TV went to the buckets. Nirvana bringing grunge in the mainstream with the constant airing of Smells Like Teen Spirit music video, and then the Courtney Love versus Madonna debacle. After the first few years of MTV, it began airing in Europe in '87. Shows like MTV Unplugged became institutions, while with the channels at their peak transforming promo videos into artistic offerings, launching music careers, allowing fashion trends to cross borders, and defining youth culture. By the tens, traditional music television became outdated with the rise of social media and on-demand streaming taking over. And I think also because they stopped showing it on TV. I'm pretty sure they started doing reality TV way before music went to YouTube as like the mainstay plays. I like the 2007 is when YouTube became a thing. It didn't really get popular until I want to say 2010. And I'm pretty sure most of the shows on MTV were reality shows before 2010. The MTV brand will continue through digital platforms and signature events like, of course, the VMAs and EMAs. However, on the last day of 25, music television, as Jenna Rousseff known it, will be no more. So rest in peace that. You got a non sequitur?
Yeah, it's not a non sequitur, it's an absolute sequitur. And it has to do with Paramount Skydance, which is the chairman company that bought CBS and fired Colbert and all that shit so they could get their merger approved. That's what this is all about, was Paramount Plus or Paramount or whatever merging with Skydance. Skydance, owned by David Ellison. Who's David Ellison? David Ellison is the son of the Oracle Corporation co-founder Larry Ellison, the second wealthiest individual in the world. In other words, fuck Paramount, fuck Skydance, don't watch them, boycott them, may they rot in hell. There's your non sequitur on that.
Sounds good to me. I can agree with that statement. Oh, I'm not
Another
getting enough
oligarch
money. Let
trying
me
to
cut
feed us the
everything.
news.
Also, let me
Now,
make a media conglomerate.
Yeah. Well, that MTV only has 500 viewers a day, and it costs us $7 to produce. We're losing
Then don't
7
buy it,
cents on
asshole,
that.
if it's costing you
71
money.
cents. Never mind, Colbert was the #1 rated show on your stupid channel,
You
right?
canceled it, yeah.
And it was destroying the competition, and you canceled it. So don't sit there and talk us about ratings and losing money.
Yeah.
Corporate criminals.
Our next story is about somebody doing good, somebody with money doing good for the world. Kate Bush, famous for running up that hill, raising money for war child appeals. The musician invites 52 UK visual artists to create works based on the song lyric to raise money for children affected by war. So make some art, sell that art, fund the children. This is from Caroline Davies on The Guardian. Kate Bush is harnessing the power of her global hit, Running Up That Hill, in collaboration with leading names in British art to raise money for children caught up in global conflicts. The singer-songwriter invited 52 visual artists to respond to her lyric, "If I only could, I'd make a deal with God," from her 1985 anthem, one of her best-loved songs and hailed as one of the greatest songs of all time by Rolling Stones. It became a hit all over again in 2022 when it was featured in the 4th season of Stranger Things. Announcing the project, Bush said, All wars leave horrific scars, ruined lives, families ripped apart, life-changing injuries, trauma, and loss on a massive scale. But it's the children who suffer the most in so many ways. The past, present, and future melt away to fear and uncertainty. It's more important than ever we support War Child and their invaluable work providing immediate aid to children caught in conflict all over the world, including Ukraine, Gaza, Sudan, and Syria. Projects like Sound and Vision harness the power of art and music to make a real difference to children living through war. So, Doig has contributed 2 signed pieces, The Hill and on the theme of crucifixion, The Child of War, depicting a child looking at a figure on horseback. Hambling's contribution is titled Midnight Wave. Charlie Calder-Potts, Britain's youngest female official war artist, who worked with British Army in Afghanistan, who has since traveled the world creating work in Iran, Pakistan, and Tajikistan, and at the Yazidi refugee camp in Iraq, has created a new work also for this fundraiser, I guess. So too have Corbin Shaw, known for textiles, prints, and flags, capturing modern-day Britishness through ancient crafts. Susie Hamilton, a former artist resident at St. Paul's Cathedral, whose portraits of doctors, nurses, and patients facing COVID-19 are held by the Science Museum. An unskilled worker, aka Helen Downey, discovered painting aged 48 and shocked to the industry-wide fame, growing Instagram following of more than 280,000 followers. Another proof that you can start something successful late into your life. You don't have to do it at 20. The exhibition, curated by Art on a Postcard, sponsored by DHL, which is a German logistic company, will go on display at Iconic Images Gallery in Piccadilly, London, from the 4th to 8th of November. So check that out if you're in London in November 4th or 8th through the 8th. Contributors include LUAP, Hannah Lim, Kate McCrickard, Aaron Lawlor, Gil Button, Adam Dix, David Harrison, Gideon Rubin, Boo Saville, Shazad Dawood, Natalie Gonzalez-Martin, while Peter Messer, Nick Brindrad will return for taking part in last year's Sound and Vision. So Bush follows in the footsteps of Bowie as a supporter of War Child. Bowie helped curate fundraising exhibition for the charity in '94 called Little Pieces from Big Stars, which 30 years later was the inspiration for the first Sound Vision last year, with artists responding to the lyric, "We like dancing and we look divine," from his song Rebel Rebel. The curator Gemma Pepe, founder of Art on a Postcard, said Bush's lyric had prompted some great contemporary artists to produce some vibrant and evocative work. She said Doig had asked if he could take part. I nearly fell off my chair. That's a testament to the great work War Child does. Charlotte Nemo from War Child UK, which is present in a number of active conflict zones, including Ukraine and Gaza, said, "We are delighted to announce that Sound of Vision is returning. This year, inspired by lyrics from the incredible Kate Bush. This is made possible thanks to the immense generosity of both Kate and their team, as well as the iconic artists that are creating and donating pieces inspired by Kate lyrics." So yes, the auction will take place on 28th of October to 13th of November via Givergy, if you would like to purchase a piece to help war children all over the globe. And also, yet again, you can see it in Piccadilly from the 4th to 8th, all these images on gallery. Let's go to our segue and this day in history.
Oh, okay, segue. This is about Kate Bush. Do you know, maybe you do, who discovered Kate Bush? at the age of 16?
The guy we were talking about earlier before the show?
No, it wasn't anybody we were talking about. It wasn't.
Oh, okay.
It was David Gilmour of Pink Floyd.
Really?
Who
oh,
heard
that's
a
cool.
yes. Pink Floyd guitarist David Gilmour discovered Kate Bush.
Oh my God!
When he was given a demo tape by a family friend, Bush was 16. Impressed with her talent, Gilmour financed a professional recording session, helped her secure a record deal with EMI. And she was the first British woman to hit #1 with a composition of her own song, Wuthering Heights.
She wrote her own
1978.
song. Sad that we have to celebrate that, but we do. I mean, back then it was even worse.
It's the British.
Manufacturing, like music
Brit-
manufacturing was very
British chart.
normal back then. You
Yeah,
know,
it's the
we wrote a song for you.
British chart.
You're gonna look like this. You're gonna
Not
do
the
this
American
music.
chart.
All right, get out there, you star. And I'm like, I have no emotions attached to any of what I'm doing as an artist.
Here's what American record companies and British record companies used to do.
Yeah.
You had a hit song, they made some white guy or white lady record it. Here's Petula Clark's version of,
Yeah.
What's Going
Terrible.
On by, Marvin Gaye or something. And here's Pat Boone's version of...
Oh
Pat
no,
Boone's
different
version of
people with
Create-
different lives. That's scary. We have to complete this.
Pat
We have to
Boone's...
keep reinforcing our homogeny that we're all the same and we all go through the same stuff. All right, let's roll our segue wheel. I will give you a
Pat
non-sequitur for this day in
Of course,
history.
Pat Boone... Okay. Of course, Pat Boone did a version of Crazy Train, which was featured on the Osbourne show. It was the theme song for the Osbourne show, right? Pat Boone's version of Crazy Train. Crazy, that's how it goes. Yeah. Anyway, let's do this day in history. This day in rock music history. First, we're going to go back to what's Marie Osmond's birthday. Donnie Marie, if you know the Osmonds at all. Let's go back to this day in music. This day in 1963, the Beatles made their debut on ITV's Sunday night at the London Palladium, topping the bill and transmitted live to an audience of 50 million viewers. So 1963, Beatlemania really started.
That's a lot of people
Meeting
back
you,
then.
especially in England, right? She loves
Yeah, I
your
don't know what
twist
the
and shout,
population
and I'll
was back
get you.
then.
I don't know what's up. 1965, The Who recorded My Generation at Pi Studios, London, and released a single and reached #2 on the UK chart, held off in #1 position by The Seekers' Carnival Is Over, which I've never heard. Daltrey would later say that he stuttered the lyrics to try to fit them into the music. No, he stuttered the lyrics because he was imitating a speed freak trying to say things. Right? Somebody is
You're
tripping
doing
on
it
his
right
speed,
now.
trying to put us down because
Yeah, I mean, nobody's
They're
going to
sputtering because their mind is
drugs.
tripping.
Yeah, drugs.
mind is tripping faster than her. Anyway, known for one of the best, probably the first bass solo in the history of rock and roll. Right, John Entwistle's in 1970. On this day, sad day, Janis Joplin's ashes were scattered at Stinson Beach in Marin County, California. The singer had been found dead on the floor beside her bed in the Landmark Hotel in Hollywood, California, October 4th. The official cause of death was overdose of heroin, possibly combined with effects of alcohol. I say she was murdered by the government because she injected pure heroin, and if you know anything about heroin, you cannot buy pure heroin on the street. You cannot buy pure heroin on the street. The dealers cut it with something. She OD'd on pure heroin. Where does she get it from? Who has pure heroin?
It's very weird.
The government has pure heroin. They do. So I'm just saying, her OD was as suspicious as of. I always think all these rock and roll dashes. Oh yeah, she was a drug addict. Of course she OD'd. Of course, that's a perfect cover story. You give somebody pure heroin, they overdose, they die. You don't need a cover story. Of course she OD'd. Of course she did. Sorry. I will never believe that all of these rock stars OD'd. I will never believe it. 1973. Well, let's see. 1974 is another one we want to dedicate. Is TV host Ed Sullivan died on this day. The leader of the Ed Sullivan Singers and Orchestra introduced the Beatles and other UK acts in America via his Ed Sullivan Show. TV show from New York City, which ran from June 20th, 1948 to June 6th, 1971. I remember tuning it in every Sunday until 1971 on every CBS Sunday night at 8 p.m. The Beatles' appearance on February 9th, 1964 is considered a milestone in American pop culture. The broadcast drew 73 million viewers. Ed Sullivan also introduced a lot of black acts to America. That's not mentioned in here, but it is mentioned in his biography. I think that's everything for Rocktober today. Yeah, that's pretty much it for October. Not much else happened today and this day. In history, on regular history, as we go all the way back to the year... oh wow, we're only going back to 1843. B'nai B'rith, the oldest and largest Jewish service organization in the world, was founded in New York City. 1903, the Boston Americans, later the Boston Red Sox, defeated the Pittsburgh Pirates to win the first modern World Series. So happy anniversary to the Boston Americans, Boston Red Sox now, who were eliminated, last week by the Yankees. And the Yankees, in turn, were eliminated by Toronto. 1943, Italy declared war on Nazi Germany. Interesting choice, but again, Italy had by then gotten rid of old Benito Mussolini. 1946, after being approved by French voters in a referendum, the Constitution of the Fourth Republic is adopted in France. Way to go, France! Are you still running under that? I wonder. I don't know. 1950, the film classic All About Eve, starring Bette Davis and Anne Baxter, premiered in both Paris and New York. Known for its acid wit, it won 6 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. And what about Eve, anyway? 1972, here's a terrible, awful event in history. A flight chartered by the European rugby team crashed in the Andes mountains of Argentina, and the wreckage was not located for more than 2 months. The incident garnered international attention, especially after it was revealed that the survivors had resorted to cannibalism. If you watch the movie Alive or read the book Alive, that was about 1981, 1 week after the assassination of Anwar Sadat, voters in Egypt approved Hosni Mubarak as the country's new president. He was in power until, a couple years ago, and they just said, we've had enough of you, Mubarak. 1988, the Archbishop of Turin, Italy, announced that the carbon-14 dating indicated that the Shroud of Turin dates only to the Middle Ages, though the origins of the shroud remain controversial. Of course, a lot of people thought, that has to be Jesus. It has blood on it. It has to be Jesus. Yeah, because no other human had blood. The torch people put themselves through to try to believe in something is mind-boggling. Well, it's fascinating, actually. Oh, there you go, it has blood, and he had blood. So there you go, it has to be Jesus. And he had hair. Don't forget he had hair, too, and a beard. Oh, how weird it must have been to have a beard in those days. And he was of the wrong century, right? It was the Middle Ages, which stretched from like the year 600 to the year 1400. Those are the Middle Ages. It wasn't even old enough to be Jesus. In 2010, amid great fanfare, Chilean workers are rescued 69 days after their mine collapsed in the Atacama Desert. So happy anniversary to them. Not happy birthday. And our featured event, as we rip through another day, cornerstone laid for the White House on this day in 1792. Yeah, it wasn't always occupied by a jackass. Just recently, the cornerstone for the White House, the official office and home of every U.S. president and first lady since 1800. Our first man, which we all have someday. When John and Abigail Adams moved into the end of his term, it was 1792. So Abigail Adams, the first lady who lived there. Margaret Thatcher was born on this day. That's right, October 13th, 1925. Happy 100th birthday to the Iron Lady. They call her the Iron Lady because that's what she had in her head, iron. April 8th, 2013, aged 87. She was born in Grantham and died in London. Other birthdays today, Margaret Thatcher did that. Paul Simon, happy birthday to Paul Simon. Still crazy after all these years. I did send you a video. Hopefully you got it. Jerry Rice, one of the greatest receivers in the history of American football. Born in 1962, so he's turning 63 today. Sacha Baron Cohen. You know him, Borat, or Ali G, British actor, born in 1971, so he's doing 54. And Ian Thorpe, Australian swimmer, born in 82. He's turning at 43 today, and our National Day calendar has a lot of crap on it today. So let's get over it. It's a Navy birthday. October 13th is a Navy birthday. It's National Train Your Brain Day. I guess something about doing mazes. It's National Yorkshire Pudding Day. No idea what Yorkshire pudding is. National No Bra Day, and I'm not wearing a bra, so I'm going on. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Day. Goes with No Bra Day, I think.
Hell yeah.
And it's Columbus Day. Yeah, this is the day, or theoretically, the day that Columbus said, hey, I found America. These people didn't even know it was there. It was right under their feet.
These people didn't know they were living in America.
They completely thought they were on another planet. And in conjunction with that, it's Native American Day. I don't know why they just don't call it Indigenous Peoples Day, because American is an Italian word too. So why are we using that, right?
It's made up.
I don't understand it. Americus Vespucci was an Italian who got lost too, just like Columbus did. National Kick Butt Day. That's what day you quit smoking. And it's National Online Bank Day, which I got to check. I got a deposit, so I'll be doing that later. National Online Bank Day. So it's all those things. Those are your mispronunciations, your limericks, your haiku. No haikus today, but a lot of puns. No puns.
Lots of limericks, lots of.
Lots of technical. I know we have technical glitches. That goes without saying. For everything on October 13th, 2025, on Before Yorkshire Pudding, which I don't know what that is.
I'll explain it to you. Yorkshire it's basically a biscuit. Okay. It's a biscuit, like an American biscuit. It's bread. It's just bread. It's not a pudding. It's not made out of. It's not liquid. It's bread.
It's like bread pudding with raisins.
I don't know why, because I'm American, so obviously it's probably normal in the UK. But they call bread that they make for like as a side bread, like a biscuit. They call it pudding. I don't know why they call it pudding. Maybe it starts out as a pudding, like the stuff it's made out of, right, is a pudding, and then when you cook it, it turns into bread. But it, the batter is very pudding-like, I would say. But it's basically like a biscuit, a muffin. When you look it up, you'll see it's just bread.
Butter, eggs, flour, water, and milk. That's basically
that's
breakfast. Bread. Breakfast. That's what it is.
It's a
all
cake.
right.
It's a meal cake. I don't know what they call it. It's called a pudding, but that's not really what American people call it. My
pudding,
non-sequitur,
putting it down. The kind of pudding that Bill Cosby didn't endorse. There you go.
He didn't like Yorkshire puddings. I've had it. It's really good. They're really nice, but it's just bread, right? It's nothing. Yeah, I don't know why they show like an entire English dinner in the image, because that's really confusing.
Right on.
It's just that weird bread in the picture. That weird cupped. It comes out like a muffin, but instead of having a muffin top, it has like a muffin conclave. Anyways, there's my non sequitur. We talked about Yorkshire puddings.
It's like me when I put shit on a shingle. It's the same thing, huh?
Yeah. But this has been another start of a new week. We're getting closer to the end of the year. I know. Time flies when you're going through scenario after scenario in history. Wow, another thing that I can tell I was there alive for, And it is an international day today. We did finish International Space Week on Friday, so that's over, but it is International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction. That's right, those things that Doge defunded, actually really important for reducing disaster risk. It makes sure people know there's a disaster coming and getting them out of there, evacuating them, having systems in place to know when they need to be evacuated, and of course, having an agency that's ready to help rebuild right after the disasters happen, because you can't fight the planet. The private sector currently controls 75% of investments into climate threats like flooding and drought and stuff like that. Total disaster costs exceed $2.3 trillion thanks to ecosystem impacts and indirect and not direct because of climate change. Climate is making floods, rain, heat more and more common than it used to be. Droughts have increased by 29% in the past 20 years. And cyclones have caused an estimated of $119.5 billion annual costs every year. So, I don't know, tell your government to fund disaster risk reduction. This has been Allison here from the Netherlands, Roger from the East Coast of the US. As we finish off Mucking Fun Day, we will see you tomorrow for Good News Day, so you can get all the good news you need to hear this week. Make sure you're following, subscribe, either on YouTube or Twitch. Turn that bell on so you get notified when we go live or post a video. And of course, if you would like to support us, check out our Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, you can support us. And here is our SNL mic drop moment. Or I guess our Simon mic drop moment.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Happy 84th birthday, Paul Simon.
I believe you said it was this the one you're talking about? Was it the most boring episode of SNL? Like the second episode?
I didn't say it was the most boring either. I said it was the one with no comedy.
Oh, okay.
And this is a different episode anyway.
Oh, okay.
This is much
this
later.
Is not that. He's dressed with a turkey because it's,
Right.
I'm guessing, Thanksgiving.
Yes. And he sings one of
He
his
looks very happy to
biggest
be in
solo
that
hits.
costume right now.
And he totally frickin' sings too, right?
She seemed so glad to see me, I just smiled. And we talked about some old times.
That's such a well-made costume.
I know. Must be leftover from the Macy's parade. Still crazy after all these years. Perfect costume.
Come on, guys, he's still singing.
Cut it. Forget it, Richard.
There's your mic drop.
You know, I said when the turkey concept was first brought up, I said there's a very good chance I'm going to end up looking stupid if I come out wearing it. I mean, everyone said, oh, it's
That's the truth.
Go ahead, you know. I felt it was not in any way in keeping with my image, the lyrics, the boxer, any of those songs. They said, hey, you know, you take yourself so seriously. Why don't you stop taking yourself so seriously for a while, loosen up a little bit, and maybe people will laugh. You want to be Mr. Alienation? You can be Mr. Alienation. Well, I didn't want to be Mr. Alienation. I don't want to. I want to be a regular guy, but I feel this.
I don't think anybody wants to be wearing that.
I'm sorry. I'm just going to go into it. This is just a terrible mistake on my part.
Sorry, guys. Goodbye.
Saturday Night Live. His first appearance on Saturday Night Live, he opened the show with that very same song, but not in a turkey costume.
Wonderful. You call that wonderful? What, you had a problem? It was wonderful.
There's Lauren Michaels, the producer.
Experiences of my life.
What? The band came in late?
The band is fine. The band.
Why am I being paid for this?
The problem is, I'm singing still crazy after all these years in a turkey outfit. Well, would you like to sing in a turkey outfit?
I thought it worked great.
Yeah, what do I look like? Jan Michael Vincent here? You think I'm looking good?
Great, honestly. Why don't you just go change for the
Yeah,
picture,
let's just
okay?
do that. Let's
All
just
right.
say it was a different.
Wow.
Maybe it was a different
Jan
Wow,
Michaels,
he's
kind of
pissed.
archaic.
We'll be right back after this following message.
I can't fit through the door.
All right, I'll help you.
I'm not coming back in this damn turkey costume.
Paul
There you
Simon
go.
being a good sport.
Yeah, man, that was a very well made costume there.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.